This is a good paper, but somehow it just doesn't appeal to me. Not every good paper appeals to me. Find out why in today's episode of PR. Alright, welcome back to another video. This is Yao from Vantage Tutor, a class above the rest, and for today's Prelim Paper review is what you requested. It is from 2022 St. Joseph's Institute Pure Chemistry Paper 2. Now before I begin, these are the questions that I feel are interesting and probably worth your time to try. And for students who like to try this paper, you're invited to join my Telegram channel where I've uploaded a summary along with a download link on my blog. Have a go at it, let me know how you did. Generally, this paper meets many of the criteria that I'm looking for, but there are just one or two very minor misses that I cannot bring myself to like the paper. Why? Find out via my three matrices. Number 1, relevance. Number 2, insightfulness. Number 3, difficulty. Before I give an overall score and recommend to you the type of students who should try this paper. And of course, if I had a student who had to sit for this paper, what would be a fair expectation of him from me in order for him to score an A in his actual O-levels? Firstly, relevance. First impression. Honestly, I don't quite like it. Because you will know in your O-levels, the first question is just filling in the blanks. They give you multiple choices and they ask you a few statements, you just put in a blank, which there is none in this paper. In fact, they started out with QA, which is fine, but then again, that kind of question format nowadays is found more in combined science rather than pure chemistry. Usually your QA does not come out in a table form for the pure chemistry students anymore. Then proceeding on question 2, you are immediately smacked with a heavy calculation question, which is usually not the case as you go through the O-level paper. Usually in your O-level, the first few questions is to get your engine running, let you get into a bit of flow, then as you move on and on, it gets harder and harder. And that's one of the major things about the relevance that I cannot get past. Another part about the relevance is in section B, where you talk about your data analysis or your either or question, it feels that they have taken elements from the A-levels which I don't particularly enjoy. But then again, to be fair to them, they did not ask of any conceptual knowledge of that. They just presented information that is learned in the A-levels without giving you the concept, but simply asking you different questions about it based on your O-level syllabus, which is good in itself. But you know me, I cannot get past the idea of using A-level ideas to bring down the O-levels and call it a contextual or data analysis question. And you will know why if you look at all the O-levels data analysis questions. Most of the questions, even I have to read through as well. And hence, the relevance of this paper will only be given an average score, 5 out of 10. Next, insightfulness. This I have a lot to say. This paper has plenty of insightful questions. In a sense, almost every question is an application question, whether it's in terms of applying your raw concept to a different idea or simply giving you a story to decipher. And the thing is, in this paper, there are just so many questions that are very insightful, but some of them do feel a bit frivolous to me. Some of them feels a bit unnecessary to me, but then again, I get what they are trying to do. I agree that the question is fair and it's not too far-fetched. And I think the biggest compliment has already been paid in the relevance part, which is in the data analysis question. Even though the information presented to you was from the A-levels, they try not to probe you or push you towards the A-level concept. They ask you questions simply based on what you learned in your O-levels with a bit of small extrapolation using a small part of the information. And hence, putting my emotions aside, putting my gut feeling aside, this paper has to be one of the more insightful paper. Easily 8.5 out of 10. Difficulty, I think this paper is going to be one of the more challenging ones, but it's not completely out of your reach. A lot of students are going to feel that this paper requires thinking. And as I said just now, there seems to be a big skew towards insightful questions. There seem to be a lot of insights to be picked up from this paper, which is great if you're doing practice, but not so great in terms of simulation towards your O-levels. This paper would have been more fair if there was a better balance between a raw question that is supposed to be direct with the insightful application education and contextual questions. The balance seems to be off by 15 to 20%. And for most students, you would complete this paper. You would be able to solve most of the questions, but at the same time, you are going to feel tired as you go through the paper because you are required to use ideas from different chapters to answer one question. And that in itself is insights. That in itself produces a challenge for you. And therefore, for students who just study chemistry based on topics, understanding them individually without being able to relate the different topics together, this will be a bigger challenge for you. But for most students, this should just be a slight uphill battle, and hence the difficulty will be given an above average score, 7 out of 10. Overall, as much as it has hit all the different criteria, there is just this feeling in me that I cannot get past. I know it's insightful, it's a paper that has some challenges, but at the same time it's still kind of fair, but part of me just feels this is far-fetched compared to your O-levels. In a sense, this paper felt a bit try-hard. In a sense, I felt that this paper, maybe if you tweak it here and there a bit, would have been a very good paper. And to be honest, apart from whatever I've said before, I don't know what else to fix about this paper. But then again, this is definitely a good paper, but just not to my liking. It is going to be useful for most of you. It is going to present decent amount of insights for most of you. But personally, not to my liking. Overall, it will be given a very fair score of 5 out of 10. And if I had a student who had to sit for this paper under exam condition, a fair expectation of him would be 65% in order for him to score an A in his actual O-levels. Finally, who would I recommend this paper to? I recommend this paper to students who are above average, meaning you have finished your revision on a topical level. Not only that, you are able to see how the different topics come together, how they relate to each other, and when you're presented with a question from this paper where it concerns different topics, you wouldn't be phased. You know that you just need to think a bit more, you just need to connect the different chapters together, and therefore you'll be able to answer most of the questions here. But if you are a student who is clearly still struggling with a particular topic, this paper is going to present a challenge to you. You are going to feel disruption as you go through the paper. You will struggle to get through the paper because most of the questions here will require elements from different topics. And of course, this paper is supposed to be used as a time practice. For the weaker students, maybe you can take out individual questions to try on a separate day and slowly try to complete the paper. And therefore, if you are a student who is at least average throughout the entire syllabus for every single topic with no glaring weakness, and you are looking for a slightly uphill challenge for your post-prelims revision towards your O-levels, this paper definitely for you. Alright, so we have come to the end of this Prelim Paper review of 2022 St. Joseph's Institute Pure Chemistry Paper 2. Now, if you like what I'm doing, follow me on TikTok, like my video, comment, and share it with your friends. I'm sure this will help them because ultimately, I'm on my way to 10,000 followers. For students who would like to download this paper, you're invited to join my Telegram channel where I've uploaded a summary along with a download link on my blog. Have a go at it, let me know how you did, nothing else. This is Yaola from Vantage Tutor, a class above the rest. Take care.